Okay, good afternoon. We are proud and honored to welcome you to this event marking the impact of the Aufzien Family Center for the Prevention and Treatment of Parkinson's disease, which was founded in 2019 thanks to the outstanding generosity of the Aufzien family. We are very pleased to have with us today and welcome Jonathan and Michelle and their daughter Susan. Welcome. We extend our greetings to the rest of the family abroad, Noni, Mary, Lisa, Leslie, and their families. To officially open this event, I would like to invite Professor Ayal Porat, President of Tel Aviv University, to greet us.
Well, dear friends, Jonathan's family, we are celebrating the Aufzien family renewing its support for this outstanding high-impact project, which has played a key role in creating Israel's Parkinson's disease community, researchers, clinicians, industry, patients, and their families. The center is headed by Professor Nir Giladi, a renowned expert in the field of movement disorders. The renewal of funding will enable the center to make world-class strides in reducing suffering, saving lives, and bringing hope to Parkinson's sufferers. The center aims to prevent Parkinson's through early diagnosis and intervention targeting the basic mechanisms of the disease. It does so through a holistic approach that encompasses the entire drug development cycle, from basic research to commercialization. Its goals for the coming 5 years were formulated based on the significant progress made thus far, as well as the latest developments in medical science in recent years. Among its main goals are, first, promoting basic and translational research projects that involve leading labs, research groups, and industry players in Israel and worldwide. Partner institutions include the Michael J. Fox Foundation and the U.S. Parkinson's Foundation, as well as the Israeli Ministry of Health and all Israel's HMOs. Second, developing tools to better diagnose Parkinson's, as well as deepen understanding of its progression and response to treatments. Third, repurposing commonly used drugs or non-pharmacological interventions to prevent Parkinson's. Fourth, testing potential new drugs to protect from Parkinson's, working in collaboration with Taos Blavatnik Center for Drug Discovery and the lab of Professor Ben Maoz. Ben is here? Yeah, hi Ben. The center achieves its goals by awarding competitive grants to promising research projects in the field, as well as providing a dedicated research fund for Professor Giladi, allocating fellowships to outstanding graduate students, promoting multidisciplinary research consortia, and engaging and sharing insights with the international scientific community. Let me say a few words about the donor and the family background, just for those of you who are not familiar with it. So the Aufzien family's relationship to Tau began with Ellen and Norma Aufzien decades ago. Prior to Ellen's passing in 2020, he was a long-time member of Taos Board of Governors and established the Aufzien Family Center for the Prevention and Treatment of Parkinson's disease at the university. Ellen was also a founding father and past chairman of American Friends of Tel Aviv University. Jonathan, the son and youngest child of Ellen and Norma, is the director of the Aufzien Foundation. Jonathan's sister, Lisa Aufzien, Leslie Levine, and Mary Bauer are all huge supporters of Tel Aviv University and engage with AFTAU. Last year, Jonathan's sister, Lisa, with her husband, Don, and Leslie, with her husband Peter and daughter Rachel, attending the Board of Governors. That's what we remember. Yeah. Okay. I think, Jonathan, you told me that last time you've been here was 2019.
Original inauguration.
Yeah, that was exactly 5 years ago when I entered office. So today, I just got into my second term. So I hope that to see, well, I've seen you in New York, but to see you in Tel Aviv before the end of my second term, much before that. I hope every year at least, and also meeting in New York as we had done in the past. Jonathan earned his BA and his MBA from the University of Pennsylvania, a great university, even though recently with kind of a less prestige because of but still a great university. Jonathan's current role is president of Astria Capital, LLC, where he invests in small companies, including buyout transactions and last-stage ventures. Just a few more words about philanthropy or the philanthropic history of Jonathan and his wife. So the majority of Jonathan and his wife, Michelle's individual giving is to the Jewish National Fund, UGA Federation New York, and the University of Pennsylvania. In addition to the support of Tau and of Jonathan and Michelle alma mater, so they also donate to their alma mater, Barnard, Princeton, and UPenn. The foundation's largest gift go to the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, Jewish Family Services, American Technion Society. Sorry, for some reason Technion didn't come. Society, probably the one with Cornell, right? No, not related. Okay, and Jersey Seeds Childhood Education. So you see what a range of philanthropy and generosity, and in these days when we are having such hard times in Israel, it's really kind of so encouraging to see people like you and your family concentrating on focusing on supporting Israeli academia in such an important field. I've just said it a couple of hours ago in another event that we are now, when we try to raise funds for the academia, it's relatively easy. It's never easy, but relatively easy to do it for what we call like emergency things which are related to the current situation in Israel, to the war. And for me, it's kind of a real pleasure to see that people like you support research in such an important area as Parkinson's, and even though not directly related to the situation Israel is now, it's so important that the Israeli academia would go forward and be strengthened, and what you do is definitely a major part of it. Let me just also say that the work with Nir Giladi and also with the hospitals, this is part of what we do at the university, collaborating with clinicians and researchers in hospitals, and this is part of the also strategy of the university to deepen those relationships. So this is a wonderful project that you renewed, and thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Oli.
Thank you, Professor Porat. You were supposed to invite Jonathan and give him the...
Enthusiastic.
Yes, it's not.
Sure, please don't. Okay, let me read it for the audience. Okay. This is to witness that on the 29th day of May 2024, Tel Aviv University honored Jonathan Aufzien in recognition of his renewal of funding for the Aufzien Family Center for the prevention and treatment of Parkinson's disease, thereby ensuring another 5 years of exceptional research and development at this world-leading center, further advancing basic and clinical understanding of Parkinson's, continuing to galvanize a community of expert scientists and clinicians to promote education, knowledge, and the development of novel drugs, therapies, and diagnostic technologies, and further reinforcing the family's profound commitment to supporting the university in its effort to reduce suffering and enhance quality of life among Parkinson's sufferers worldwide.
So thank you, President Porat. He did neglect to mention, he did mention I'm here with my wife, Michelle, and my daughter, Susan. I have 3 children, and they're all graduates of the Kaitana at Tel Aviv University, which is the highest degree you offer, yes?
If you're going to fire someone here.
Anyway, as mentioned, I'm Jonathan Aufzien. I'm here representing my sisters, Leslie, Lisa, and Mary, and my mother, Norma, who suffers from Parkinson's disease. So that is why this all has happened and why we understand the disease and the difficulties very personally. So part of the renewal agreement is that I would have to speak only for a few minutes, so I will keep it brief. He mentioned that my parents had been very involved with the university in general and with Parkinson's efforts, with a chair related to Parkinson's, et cetera, for many, many years. And because of my mother's disease, my father was very motivated as of 2019 and the planning process before to really make this center happen. And we're all very gratified, as he was, that he was able to make it happen before he passed away. So we're very happy that it all came together. And in the beginning, there was discussion about a 10-year horizon for the center. And as a new venture, the decision was made to plan for the first 5 years and then think about what was to come. Because we didn't know what the prospects would be. We didn't know how it was going to work. And we're gratified, and I think my father would be very gratified to know that it has been so promising, and the work of Karen and Nir and everybody else involved has been so fruitful in such a short period of time, and that was a major input to our deciding to extend for another 5 years. So all we can hope is that the progress continues and perhaps accelerates over the next 5 years to really make a difference for a disease that can be extremely devastating. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm happy to invite Professor Nir Giladi. Nir Giladi to greet us. He is a full professor in the Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences in the Tel Aviv Soraski Medical Center, and he is the co-founder and director of the Aufzien Family Center of the Prevention and Treatment of Parkinson's Disease.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure and honor. Thank you, Professor Porat. Thank you, Jonathan, and the Aufzien family. And it's a real event to look back over the past 5 years, but more so, as Jonathan said, looking forward. And we feel the sky is no more our limit. I think if we look back in 2019 here, Jonathan, where we opened the center, we had the COVID in between. It definitely affected some of our plans, and this is from last year, the similar event where the 2 sisters were here. And I think over the past 5 years, we've reached a lot of our initial goals. I think the most important one is bringing 43 different labs within Tel Aviv University and the affiliated hospitals to be interested in Parkinson's disease and work towards prevention and treatment of Parkinson's disease. This was achieved by 14 full grants and 11 seed money grants. We supported 24 PhD and postdoc fellowships, 11 travel grants, 5 infrastructure grants, and 2 consortium grants. So it's really invested the center's money in a wide range of different projects. And we also had a national and international contribution, 3 international conferences. Unfortunately, we postponed 2 of them because of the COVID. 4 annual Parkinson brainstorming meeting where we bring all Israeli Parkinson experts together to think how we can move forward. 4 Israeli Parkinson congresses where we bring patients, researchers, students, industry to work together. We have on a monthly basis the Aufzien seminar, 6 national Aufzien prizes for established and junior scientists, and we will give 2 today, later, and global Parkinson School for pharmaceutical industry in order to bring the industry to work closer with the academia. We are very happy for the results because the labs and the students are really approaching the basic mechanism responsible for Parkinson's disease, because we believe that if one wants to prevent or to cure, you don't have to target the symptoms, but you have to target the cause. And unfortunately, in many of the cases, we are not fully understanding what is the cause of Parkinson's disease. I think we are helping the world moving forward. We are uncovering new targets for preventing and curing PD. I just shared with Jonathan some of our recent observations that might change the field. We are developing new modes of treatments, studying the genetic role, especially here in Israel, where the Ashkenazim are carrying many of the Ashkenazi patients are carrying mutations that are causing Parkinson. We're studying different aspects of the disease that might contribute, like sleep. We are developing new approaches, for example, just to share with you, a neurofeedback to prevent the tremor. Simply teaching the brain how to stop the tremor without drugs, or using music to improve motor function, or using virtual technology to prevent falls. So we are really targeting multiple aspects of this complex and terrible disease. This is just a few pictures of the prizes we have given, and we are very happy to share with you that these are prizes for the entire community, the academic community in Israel. So it's not just for Tau researchers, and this is how we are contributing to the general interest in Parkinson globally and in Israel. These are pictures of the events that we are organizing, as I shared with you, for patients, for therapists, for families, for the industry. And when we look forward, we really believe that we can contribute significantly to this general global effort to prevent Parkinson's disease by the different grants programs. We are enhancing this program by supporting proposals for more than 1 year. So we are actually asking groups now to submit proposals for 2, 3, and possibly 4 years, much larger scale, focusing on long-term outcomes. And we are promoting international collaborations by supporting face-to-face meetings and focusing on translational significance, because we want to be key players in the race to cure Parkinson's disease. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to take all what has been developed over the past 5 years to its next stage. I think we are much more focused now. We know that in order to reach our goal, we have to look at specific targets and go with full forces. So thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Giladi. I'm happy to invite our next speaker, Professor Ben Maoz. Professor Ben Maoz is a faculty member in the Department of Biomedical Engineering at the Sagol School of Neuroscience at Tel Aviv University.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for this honor and for inviting me here today to give this short talk about some of the things that we do with the support of the center. I would personally like to thank you for the support, because we couldn't do these things without the support. And all the things that Neil showed previously, all the meetings, the guests, the lectures, the experts from abroad, all these things couldn't have been without the support. And as you will see, it also integrates many different disciplines. So it's really, really a unique opportunity to really join forces and to push our knowledge and our basically know-how and techniques and methods to try and to better understand this disease and to try and to find a cure. I promise that it won't be too long, so not more than 1 or 2 hours, top. Okay, so today I'm going to present some of the work that we do with the support of the Aufzien Center. The really brief introduction of what you need to know about what we do is that humans are, or at least most humans, are significantly different than rodents. Basically, between 60 to 90% of the drugs that successfully pass animal trials, they fail in human clinical trials. And the second fact you need to know is that there are not only significant differences between animals and humans, but also between humans themselves. So at a given time, about 75% of the people receive drugs that are not optimal for their condition. And it's not the doctors are not good, it's because each one of us has their own physiology, our own, different mechanisms that require, at the end of the day, personalized medicine. So basically what we do is we're trying to develop a patient-specific model. And when I'm talking about a model, it's not a computational model. We are using cells and tissues to create these models. And basically what we do in the lab, we integrate two cutting-edge technologies. One is known as IPS, which basically, in order to understand what IPS is, we just need to be on the same page regarding how we actually come to the world. So all of us know we have the egg, we have the sperm, they come together, then we have a ball of cells that we call them stem cells. These stem cells, they can basically differentiate to any type of tissue, and these tissues then assemble us as a human being. And we all know that this is a one-way track, right? We know that our brain cannot be a heart, and our heart cannot be a bone, and our bone cannot be a gut, right? Right? Yes. Great. So this one way is not one way anymore. Basically, about 20 years ago, a professor from Japan, Professor Shinya Yamanaka, discovered that you can actually take a cell from your body, a cell, for example, from your skin, transform it to be a stem cell, and then in the lab, we can actually differentiate it to whatever we want. Okay? And this means that we can do a lot of cool stuff that I will elaborate really shortly in a few minutes. The second technique that we're working with is known as organ on a chip. Organ on a chip is basically a tool that allows you to mimic physiological conditions on tissues. Here you can see that this is the lung on a chip. You have two channels separated by a membrane. Since it's the lung, we have lung cells at the top. We have vascular cells at the bottom. This chip is elastic, so you can stretch it to mimic the breath and the stretch of the lungs. You can bring air on one side, you can bring blood at the other side, and you can do really, really complex physiology. For example, to bring bacteria on one side, you can bring white blood cells at the other, and you can really do a lot of complex physiology while mimicking the microenvironment of the tissue. What we do in the lab, we were actually able to integrate up to 10 different organs and really to create this mini physiological systems, basically like Lego. I can take the brain on a chip, the gut on a chip, the liver on a chip, and to start linking different chips to create these mini physiological systems. So now I'll give you a really quick taste of things that we do in the lab. One is developing a patient-specific model, and the second one is developing a relevant platform for assessing drugs for Parkinson. Regarding the first project, basically the main question is, I'm all the time talking about personalized medicine. Well, personalized medicine means that somehow I need to get a tissue from a patient. And obviously, you don't want to take just a biopsy from someone's brain, right? So if I want to do a personalized medicine for you, how can I study your brain without being too invasive? This is basically the question. So basically what we do, we take a sample from a patient from his skin, transform this to a stem cell, and then we differentiate this specifically to a brain, and we create these mini brain organoids. And what you see here is basically a mini brain. Okay, it's in the lab, you can see the size. It composes from brains, and this is a project that I do together with Professor Uri Asheri that is over there as well. And what we do in this project is we take cells from, skin samples from different patients. And as the Jewish people, we were blessed with many, many things, especially many mutations. And not only many mutations, specifically when we talk about Parkinson, as Nir mentioned, here in Ichilov, they have one of the largest cohorts when it comes to specific mutations of Ashkenaz Jews. And together with Nir and his team, and this is also an amazing aspect of the Aufzien, is that there is a really close collaboration with the clinicians. And what we do, we take cells from different patients that have mutations. We start to grow their brain organoids, and you can see how it grows over time. This is after 28 days, and you don't need to be a neurologist to see that there are significant differences in the size. We can quantify these differences and to see how the specific mutation is going differently over time. What we can do is actually to slice these brains like a pastrama and actually to start imaging the different proteins that you have inside. So here you can see one type of protein, a different type of protein, and you can see, without going into the scientific details, you can see that there are significant differences between the Parkinson mutation and the healthy control. Here you can see because of the light, we don't see that good, but you can really see the development of the organoids. You can see how they change over time. The protein expression is changing, and you can do a lot with this. Really a lot, and we can do also bioinformatics, and we can actually take a biopsy from a patient, create neurons from this, and to do electrophysiology. And the electrophysiology is, give or take, equivalent to clinical measurements you can do at the clinic, like EEG. It's obviously not the same, but we can do functional assessments of the cell. And then we can take the samples, and to do drug screening, we can see how specific drugs for specific tissue, to see how the different brain organoids are reacting to specific drugs, and really to try and to do personalized medicine. Quickly, I will mention the second project that, again, by using our platform, this is a collaboration with Avi Schroeder from the Technion, and again, Uri Asheri, that basically what we do in Parkinson, you have this aggregation of a molecule known as alpha-synuclein. And the main question is not only how you develop a drug for this alpha-synuclein, but how you bring the drug to the brain. Because our brain is highly protected with something called the BBB, the blood-brain barrier, which is great because it protects our brain. But from the other hand, it's a bummer, right? Because it's hard for us to bring drugs to the brain. So how we can cross the BBB, how actually we can target this alpha-synuclein, and how we can assess this thing. What we did together with Avi Schroeder, he developed this liposome that can target this alpha-synuclein, can break the mechanism of aggregation, and we used our organ-on-a-chip platform to assess if it can actually cross this BBB. We help him to optimize the drug, and the outcome is that the drug was actually able to target neurons that have alpha-synuclein aggregates. Then he took it in vivo. He saw that there is distribution of the drug. He saw that it can actually tackle the alpha-synuclein, and he saw improvement in functional tests with rodents. So it is really synergy between different disciplines. I would like to finish by saying what is actually making us unique. So, and I'm saying us, I'm talking about Tel Aviv University. We have really unique tools. We have bioinformatics, we have clinicians, we have tissue engineers, we have biologists, we have really a lot. And we have a unique team. These are the people that I worked with, Professor Uri Asheri, Professor Oded Sharan, Nir Giladi, and obviously Karen Abraham, who is an amazing driver together with Nir to make everything happen. And I think that the future, with the support of the Aufzien Center, is basically that with the forces that we have at Tel Aviv University that we have, we can bring this forward and really to take it to the next level. I would like to thank you for this opportunity and again for your support.
Thank you, Professor Maoz. Each year, the Aufzien Center awards 2 scientific prizes to honor major research discoveries. These prizes are awarded to investigators, 1 junior, 1 established, in recognition to the excellence and impact of their work in Parkinson's disease, based on their long-term contribution. I'm pleased to announce that this year's winner of the Junior Scientist Prize is Dr. Avraham Ashkenazi from the Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences at the Tel Aviv University. I would like to invite Professor Nir Giladi to award the prize.
So this year's Aufzien Center Junior Scientific Prize is awarded to Dr. Avi Ashkenazi from the Tel Aviv University for his significant contribution to the research in the field, and in particular the characterization of mechanisms of autonomic dysfunction in Parkinson's disease and the role of poly-Q tracts in autophagy-mediated degradation pathway. Dr. Ashkenazi uses an innovative cellular molecular approach combining animal model and human iPSC-derived neurons to gain insight into the basic biology underlying neuronal dysfunction in Parkinson's disease. His work on autophagy mechanisms has revealed how disruption in this process can lead to the accumulation of alpha-synuclein, a key protein in Parkinson's disease pathology. He is also a pioneer in investigating the pathology of the autonomic nervous system and the role of autonomic dysfunction in Parkinson's disease. Autonomic dysfunction emerges as a promising biomarker for the early diagnosis and treatment of Parkinson's disease, which can facilitate the development of novel therapeutic strategies and personalized medicine approaches. So it's a real honor for us to award you, Avi, this junior prize this year.
It is my honor to announce this year's Established Scientist Prize winner, Professor Anat Mirelman from the School of Medicine and Sagol School of Neuroscience at Tel Aviv University and the Tel Aviv Soraski Medical Center. The award will be given by Professor Karen Abraham.
So as Professor Giladi Nir said earlier, this is a prize that's given, these 2 prizes, we distribute them throughout Israel. And it's also because we recognize that there's excellence all over Israel, not just at Tel Aviv University. But this year, what could you do? The most excellent ones were both at Tel Aviv. So we're very, very proud of this year's Established Scientist Prize, which is awarded to Professor Anat Mirelman. She's from the School of Medicine and the Sagol School of Neuroscience here at Tel Aviv University. She's director of the Laboratory for Early Markers of Neurodegeneration at the Tel Aviv Soraski Medical Center, which I think you call Lemon. Professor Mirelman pioneered the utilization of innovative virtual reality techniques for the rehabilitation of gait in people with Parkinson's, and led the development of a unique VR system which reduces the risk of falls in PD patients. In addition, she has led extensive studies on the genetics of Parkinson's disease to identify early markers that could indicate disease processes in patients and in individuals at risk. Her groundbreaking work in the field of mobility biomarkers in Parkinson's disease is changing our understanding of how subtle walking dysfunction is crucial for predicting the emergence of Parkinson's disease. Her long-term contributions to Parkinson's disease research is evident in multiple research collaborations and has introduced a shift in the thinking of the prodromal phase of Parkinson's disease. So I'm very proud and honored to award you with the APPD Established Scientist Award.
Our next speaker is Professor Karen Abraham, founder and former co-director of the Aufzien Family Center for the Prevention and Treatment of Parkinson's disease, currently serving as the Dean of the Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences.
Thank you. So it really is, I have to say, an emotional moment for me to be here. I knew Alan Aufzien very well. We served on several committees together. And some of you may know I'm from New Jersey, as are the Aufziens. And I was the girl from New Jersey. And I think it really brought us closer. And I so appreciated Alan's wisdom, his insight, his humor, sense of humor. And it was really wonderful to get to know him over the years. And then the suggestion came up to fund Parkinson's disease research here at Tel Aviv University. And there was no question that the person to do that with is Professor Nir Giladi. For those of you who know Nir, he's not only an outstanding physician, clinician, but also a researcher with a vision. And in fact, from the beginning, in the discussions that we had about this center, the first 5 years, and then certainly the next 5 years, brainstorming with Nir is just a privilege and one of the most exciting things that anyone can do. So I encourage all of you to find an opportunity to do so, because you never know what kind of ideas are going to come up. This is a time also to thank the family. Jonathan, Michelle, Susan, so lovely to see another generation involved. And I know your two other children have been involved as well. We've met them here. Leslie and Lisa and Mary and their families. And this is really a family event. There's no question about that. And I'll say one more thing, a humble family. And sometimes the fanfare that we put together about this is a little much. But this is part of what we want to show the community, just how important this contribution is. Because it's not just about the grants and just about the meetings. It's about bringing a community of researchers and clinicians together and building something that didn't exist here at Tel Aviv University. We had a number of researchers, and you were both Anat and Nir and others have been in the field for quite some time. Professor Hausdorff, who I know is here. And so there's been a lot of excellence. And in fact, that was why I think the Aufziens recognized this was the place to start the center. But there's no question that bringing this very generous donation and bringing the coordination, first of all, it completely changed the spectrum of the number of researchers and clinicians who are working in the area. It brought the basic researchers and the clinicians together in a way that hadn't been done before. And we've also been growing a new generation. And at the end of the day, particularly in times like this, the next generation, the growth for the future, is what's so important. You know, we say it over and over and everybody feels it in their heart. This is such a difficult time. And yet diseases continue. And if anything, they even get worse because there's so much stress. And we all know what a contribution stress and trauma can have to underlying disease. And so there's never been a more important time to be able to work on cures and treatments for not only individuals with Parkinson's, but also to give hope for their families. We see families where the onset of Parkinson's is younger and younger. We see how it affects everybody involved. And one of the major things that we're working on is to really help the communities, to help the families, to really be able to have a better life and a better quality. I also have to take this opportunity to thank some people who have just been so instrumental, not only in the formation of, but how this center is working. Julie Lipset-Singer, who I know is a dear family friend of the Aufziens. Ari Wine, who's back in New York, who just helps us every step of the way in managing everything that's involved. This is a large center, and there's a lot to do constantly. Karen Schatzman, Rinat Zaslawski, Shirley Feifel, Alana Sisam, and everyone, Helen Berman, who really, it takes a village to get all of this work done. And so I want to thank all of you, because I know many of you are recipients of grants and of scholarships. And you're the ones who are working for the next 5 years so that we can really make a difference. And again, family, thank you so much for everything that you do, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Abraham. The remarkable activities of the Aufzien Family Center for the Prevention and Treatment of Parkinson's disease would not be possible without the ongoing tremendous support of the Aufzien family. Thank you, everyone, for taking part in this significant event.